I wanted to make a quick video that shows you how to use this little chart that's going to be a cheat sheet for rotations. And the way this works is whatever your point is originally, over here it's going to show you basically what you do with those the numbers for this point, the values, to rotate it wherever it says to. So like on this first box says rotation 90 degrees clockwise. If it says 90 degrees clockwise, then your X and Y value, so whatever number you have for your Y is going to now become your X value. That's what's happening here. Whatever number you have here will be the X value for your new point. And then the X number, whatever you have for your X value of the original point, that same number will be for your Y value, but you'll change the sign. Here's what I mean. So let's just we'll use 5, 2 as an example. We'll say the point is 5, 2. And if we want to rotate 90 degrees, then that 5, 2, we need to look at making it a relationship that looks like this. So rotating 90 degrees, we're going to go ahead and say we're going to put a 2 there, because it goes where the Y number goes, where the X would be on the new point. And then we're going to use the same 5, but we're going to change the sign. And that's the new point. So rotating 90 degrees, only thing that happened was I brought this Y to the X value, I brought the X to the Y value, and then I changed the sign of what the original X was. And that's what this is saying. So let's go ahead and let's look at another one. Let's say, let's erase all of this. Let's do another rotation 90 degrees. This time we'll use 7 and 9. It doesn't matter what I use as long as those two numbers aren't the same. So if I rotate 90 degrees, I'm just going to put a new point here. If I rotate this 90 degrees, then I'm going to, instead of 7, 9, it'll now be 9, 7. And I'm going to change the value of the X. I'm going to change the sign. So the original X was 7. Now when I put it over here where the Y would be for the second point, I'm going to make it a -7. That's the only difference. The value you have for Y now becomes your X. The value for X now becomes your Y, but you change the sign. And just to keep from confusion, I'm going to do another one. Let's do this one, and now I will make sure my original answer has some negatives in it. We'll make it -3, -5. So now when I switch these around, I'm still going to go ahead and put the Y value from the first point as the X value on the new point. And then the same thing with the X value, only now, instead of having a -3, I have a +3 because I changed the sign. So the sign doesn't change from here to here on this point. It doesn't go from the Y value that's -5. It'll stay -5 whenever you rotate it 90 degrees. You're going to leave that there, but then you're going to change the sign for whatever you're changing here. All right, that's a rotation 90 degrees, and that's how you read this little cheat. And let's go ahead and we'll do the next point. And on a graph, this is it's going to make more sense when you see it on a graph, but you have to be able to see it algebraically as well. So now we're going to talk about rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. Didn't mean to put an X there. You've got that part on there. So counterclockwise, you still change the X and Y, but now the sign changes on the other number. So whatever your original Y was, when you put it in X spot, you change its sign. Now this number will not change sign. It'll just go in place of where the Y was. So the way that would look, we're going to have 5, -4. And if I'm rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise by my cheat sheet, I can say, okay, well, I'm going to bring this 4 over, but I got to change its sign. I'll bring it into the X value, and then the original X value now becomes my Y value for my second point, but the sign doesn't change on that one. So the original y, the sign changed whenever I put it here, but the original x, the sign did not change. And that's what you're seeing here. The original x now moves over to the y position, does not change the sign. The original y moves to the x position, and that negative in front of it means it does change its sign. You should be kind of getting the hang of this like thought process now, or at least how to read this little part right here. You need to write this all out. You need to have this little cheat sheet when you go to do your Delta Math assignment. So let's go ahead, we'll keep on going with it. Rotation of 180 degrees is super easy. I did it again. I threw an X up there even though you got the cheat sheet. Whatever your X, Y value is, they stay the same place, but now they just change the sign. So both numbers, you just change the sign. So let's say it's -3, 7. Now it'll be +3, -7. Okay? And that's a rotation of 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and take that out again. Doesn't matter what the number is. It could be +15 and -18. Now it's going to be -15 and +18 if I rotate 180 degrees. That's all you do. Change the sign of both numbers if you rotate 180 degrees. That's the simplest thing there is. Before I go ahead and do an example of the rotations of 270 degrees, it's important to understand that if you have a coordinate plane, if you rotate something, let's say we had a triangle here, I don't know, and we rotated that 90 degrees. What would throw it over into this this fourth quadrant? That's the same as rotating 270 degrees. And it doesn't matter what the shape is. I really didn't even need to draw a shape. But what happens is, if you have a circle, an entire circle all the way around from here is 360 degrees. All right. Well, if I go 90 degrees counterclockwise, that's going to put me right here. That's the same as if I go 270 degrees counterclockwise. So if this is 90 degree clockwise rotation, 270 degrees counterclockwise rotation is going to put it in the same spot. So that's why you're going to see stuff that looks the same. So on a clockwise rotation of 270, it looks exactly the same as a rotation counterclockwise of 90 degrees because it puts it in the same spot. On this one, rotation of 270 degrees counterclockwise is going to be identical to a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. It doesn't make a difference. These two are just different ways of saying these two. You need to understand that because there's only 360 degrees all the way around. And I know my little circle scribble over here probably didn't help too much, but the little cheat sheet that I give you right here, it should be something that can help you. So rotation of 270 degrees clockwise, let's say we had 5 and 4, and that's a clockwise rotation. Remember, these are going to be, it's 270 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a -4 and a +5. And again, that's just like if I were to do a 90 degrees counterclockwise, it puts it in the same spot. And then if I were to do a rotation of 270 degrees counterclockwise, let's just -6 and we'll make it 9. So if I did a rotation of 270 degrees counterclockwise, then my values would switch places. I'd have a 9 here, and now that -6 becomes a +6 because I have to change the sign, and that's based on this right here. Again, that's identical to the very first thing we did, which was rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. Guys, I know it's not like it's really super hard or easy to follow, but use this chart. By using the chart along with the explanation parts, you're going to be able to understand this, I would think. Obviously, if you don't have the sound turned up and you can't hear me explaining where these numbers are going, you're not going to know which one of these over here I'm actually doing. But use this as a cheat sheet, write it down, make notes of it, and that'll guide you on your lesson.